30 seconds.
Yeah, thank you very much. And it's to ask the Minister for details about the 1.2 million Innovation Fund. And apologies, I wasn't here earlier. Thank you. Thank you, Lascan Corla.
Deputy. The Quality and Capacity Building Initiative funded under dormant accounts aims to take a coordinated approach to enhance capacity, knowledge and quality in prevention and early intervention for children, young people and their families. It focuses on those at risk of developing poor outcomes. And at the core of the initiative is a desire to foster persistent curiosity amongst those working to improve the lives of children and young people in Ireland. The QCBI aims to support key groups working with children, young people and families to know what works, how it works, and to provide an evidence-supported approach to the application of this work. The QCBI Innovation Fund, with a total budget of $2 million, was developed by my department to support prevention and early intervention innovations that build on existing data and evidence. And applications were made by organizations working with and for children and young people under one of two strands, scale or seed. The Deputy refers to the scale strand with a budget of €1.2 million, which supports building on existing programs, models or approaches which have shown promising outcomes for children and young people. The seed strand, with a budget of $800,000, supports less proven, new and creative approaches to problems facing children and young people experiencing disadvantage in Ireland. And on the 4th of April 2018, my department launched that Innovation Fund. A total of 239 applications were received under this funding measure, of which the majority were for the scale strand. An assessment process followed the application period. The process was conducted by an expert evaluation panel, which scored each applicant based on the transparent criteria outlined in the guidance document. And final decisions also had regard to ensuring a spread of funding across diverse organizations and geographical and disciplinary boundaries. So just stop there.
I'm very much in favour of any focused intervention that is working to eradicate disadvantage and to give those who are at a disadvantage that step up that could make life a much more of a level playing field for them. And of course I do think of my own constituency in Dublin Central, and I do think of the appalling conditions and circumstances in which, particularly, I suppose two groups in particular, older people, and that is not within your remit, and younger people, children. So this is all very much to be welcome. But we've had a discussion before, and sometimes I feel we don't look at what's there and what's best practice and what's there already. And quite some time ago, we had the Young People's Facilities and Services Fund, which was there to tackle those areas that were most at risk. Now, I know we were talking about in terms of drug addiction and addiction, but I do think there was a model there. And sometimes I think we throw out the baby with the bathwater. And I think it's a pity that we haven't gone back to that model and haven't looked at that to build on it. And that would be my reasoning on this one.
Of course, I very much appreciate your sentiment, your reasons there, as you know, and coming from my own background and work in my own constituency over the years, so I understand exactly what you're saying. In relation to the QCBI, it was an opportunity I saw, to support organizations and communities in perhaps a new way. This is in addition to, obviously, other investment that's going on. And part of the design was to, first of all, provide some monies for what we call the seed funding, because I really believe so passionately that is especially in communities which have less but want more for their children, that there's a lot of creativity going on. So that was what the seed money was. But the scale money was for, I suppose, projects that were working, that had demonstrated some of the outcomes that were effective, in order to increase I suppose, the capacity and the extent of what it is that they were doing. So, you know, that was part of the philosophy underlying that. You know, I think we need to do that, and that perhaps can reach people who have been working at the projects for a long time and are looking to increase what it is that they're doing.
I suppose I'm also thinking of current schemes that I know that where there was a shortfall in funding or where there were difficulties for a variety of reasons, continuing their work with young people in the early childhood care, for example, difficult to continue. And I know there was an issue around some of the family resource centres, that some of the newer ones were on a different scale of funding. So I was also thinking about this question in terms of those where there were shortfalls preventing the work, and then another fund is found to do very valuable work. I don't take that from that at all, but it's just the ones that are there in difficulties also need to be supported.
With you, Deputy, and it is at times challenging I think, to make decisions about investment given the parameters and contours of the existing schemes. So I accept what you're saying there, and I suppose that's why in relation to QCBI there was an opportunity there to do something within that scheme which was different in order to maybe complement investment that's going into communities in a new way and in a different way. That's not to say that, and as you indicate as well, let's say, for example, the Family Resource Centre is an example of that, that we still need to look at the kind of investment that's going on there. Is it sufficient? How is it awarded? Do they have enough people who are working in that particular family resource centre, given the geographic needs, demographic needs, et cetera, et cetera? So that is something that is also on my radar, and I am concerned about and hope to do something in the near future as well.